I'll teach you 9 things you need to know before buying a used car. Don't fall for the shiny lie. You've probably had this happen. You're looking at buying a car and you're excited. It's shiny. It smells like new car spray. The tires are all black. It looks like a dream. But for all you know, that car is a financial nightmare waiting to happen. It might have been underwater in a flood. It might have an engine held together by duct tape and hope. It might be what we call a lemon. I never recommend buying a new car because it loses a ton of value when you drive it off the lot. Buying a used car, I think, is one of the smartest financial moves you can make. You let someone else pay the depreciation, you get the value. But it's also, when you try to buy a used car, the Wild West. If you go in blind, you're the prey. My name is Dr. Nathan Crockett. I own 19 businesses and nearly 50 pieces of commercial and residential real estate. My YouTube channel gives advice to Christian leaders. And today, I'm going to try to turn you from a clueless buyer into a forensic investigator. I'm going to give you the 9 things that you must know before you hand over your hard-earned cash for a used car. And I'm not a car expert, but for many years, for a lot of our employees, we bought them cars, wrapped vehicles as bonuses. So I've bought a lot of cars through the years, even currently own a lot of cars. So these are some things I've learned oftentimes the hard way. Number 1 would be what I would call the monthly payment trap. Never ever negotiate based on the monthly payment. Again, I would recommend paying cash because a car is a depreciating asset. But if you can't pay cash and you have to have a car to get to work, when you walk onto a lot, the dealer will ask, what's the monthly payment you're looking for? If you answer that question, you lose. Why? Because they can make any car fit your monthly payment by stretching the loan out for 7, 8, 9 years. Oh, you want to pay $300 a month? Great. Here's a 96-month loan at 12% interest. You end up paying double what the car's worth. You need to negotiate the out-the-door price. That's the total cost, the tax, the title, the fees. Focus on the big number, not the monthly number. In general, like I said, I'd prefer for you to pay cash for a car since it's a depreciating asset and you never want to make payments on an asset whose value goes down over time. But the second thing would be the power of pre-approval. Again, this is only for the worst case scenario when you're not able to pay cash. You need to walk in with a shield. That shield is called a pre-approval letter, right? Before you go shopping for a car, call your credit union or your bank, ask them how much will you lend me and at what rate, and let's say they offer you 6%. Now, when you go to a dealership, you have a baseline. If the dealer says, we can get financing at 9%, you can laugh and say, no thanks, I brought my own money already. And often then the dealer will try to beat your rate to get your business. But if you don't have a pre-approval rate, you're at their mercy. Again, all of that's a little bit different if you're buying a car off of something like Facebook Marketplace, where you're going directly with an individual. Probably more risk there, but also you can probably get a better price. Number 3, check the rap sheet. What do I mean by that? Well, the VIN number, the VIN, is the rap sheet, okay? Every car has a fingerprint. It's called the vehicle identification number, VIN, V-I-N, capital for short. You need to run a Carfax or an auto check. That's the background check. It tells you, was this vehicle in an accident? Was it a rental car? Oftentimes rental cars are driven really enthusiastically, so I'd say to avoid rental cars. Was the odometer rolled back? If the seller refuses to give you the VIN, the vehicle identification number, so you can check it, then run away. They're hiding a dead body somewhere. Hopefully not literally a dead body, but you don't want to buy that vehicle. Number 4, the mismatched tire theory. And now we're looking at the car physically, like directly. Look at the shoes of the car, the tires, right? Are they all the same brand? Or is the front left like a Michelin and the back right is a Budgetmaster 3000? Why would that matter if the tires are different brands or look like they're worn totally differently? Well, here's the psychology. If the previous owner was too cheap to buy matching tires, do you think they paid for high quality oil changes? Do you think they fixed the transmission when it made a noise? Probably not. Mismatched tires are a sign of a neglectful owner, and you don't want to inherit that neglect. Also, even if all 4 tires are the same brand, but they're worn totally differently, that can tell you something about the alignment of the car. Number 5, become a paint detective. What do I mean by that? Well, walk around the car in the sunlight, look at the reflection. Does the paint on the door look slightly different than the paint on the fender? Is the texture a little bit like an orange peel? That means the car was repainted. Why is a car usually repainted? Typically because it was smashed. Even if the Carfax is clean, not all accidents are reported. And the paint, I would say, never lies. Run your finger along the edges of the hood. If it feels rough, that's probably tape lines from a cheap paint job. So be a paint detective. That can oftentimes help you realize, was this vehicle in an accident before? Number 6 sounds kind of funny, but I would say trust your nose. The sniff test. The sniff test. When you open the door, take a deep breath. Does it smell like mold or mildew? That could be a flooded car or a leaky window that's letting the moisture in. It's almost impossible to get that smell out. Does it smell like an explosion of cherry air freshener? I'd be really suspicious. Heavy perfume is usually covering up cigarette smoke or mold. A good used car should probably smell like nothing, or maybe kind of like faint old leather if it has leather seats. So your nose can be really helpful when you're checking out a used car. Number 7, the fluid check, right? Check the lifeblood of the car. Pop the hood, pull the dipstick. The oil should look like honey or amber. If it looks like black sludge, they didn't change the oil, which that might happen with an individual owner like on Facebook Marketplace. If it looks like a chocolate milkshake, that's coolant mixed with the oil. That means a blown head gasket probably. That's a $3,000 repair. So put the dipstick back and walk away if the oil is totally the wrong color. That's a major, major problem. Number 8, the silent test drive. So on the test drive, make sure it's silent. If you're with a dealer or an owner of the car, they might try to turn on the radio. Listen to this sound system. It's great. I'd say turn it off. You're not testing the speakers. You're testing the machine. You're testing the vehicle. Listen for clicks when you turn the wheel. Listen for clunks when you go over a bump. Listen for a whine when you accelerate. Does the car pull to the left? That's an alignment issue. Does the brake pedal kind of pulse? That's warped rotors. Your ears are oftentimes diagnostic tools that you have. So make sure when you drive the car, maybe do it without the salesperson in the car if possible. You want a silent test drive. That can help you learn a lot. And then number 9 is the golden rule. And you probably figured I was saving this one for last. It's, I think, the most important thing. And we sometimes might call it the PPI, the pre-purchase inspection. Before you hand over the check or the cash for the car, tell the seller, I want my mechanic to look at it. If they say no, I would say leave. If they say yes, it's worth spending $100, $150 to have a professional mechanic put it on a lift. They'll see the rust you can't see. They'll see the leaks that you missed. That $150 could save you $5,000 or $10,000 in engine repairs the next month. Years ago, this is probably 15, 16 years ago, I thought I found a great deal on a used Chevy pickup truck. One of my friends who's a mechanic, not only does he know cars, he can work on airplanes as well. He came with me to look at it. We drove nearly an hour away. I think it was in Asheville. I was so excited. It was my first time buying a pickup truck. I was pumped about this Chevy pickup truck. And my friend was about 20 years older than me. We're still friends to this day. And his name is John. And as soon as we got to the truck, I could see he was very skeptical. He's kind of shaking his head and everything. And he told me there were serious problems. He said, definitely do not buy this truck. Total ripoff. You'll have all kinds of problems with it. So, of course, I trusted him, even though my heart was set on the truck. And I told the guy no. And as we drove home, I felt really deflated. I felt like I had wasted time for both of us. And I'm driving home without the truck. And I have to explain to my wife that I didn't get it. And my friend, John, said, Nathan, you kiss a lot of frogs before you find a prince. And I've remembered that phrase. It's really worth looking into something. And shortly after that, a few days later, I actually got a great deal from a friend of mine who sold me his used Ford F-150, and I drove that for years. I actually donated it recently to our ministry up at Elijah's Harbor. It still runs, 15, 16 years later. It's been a great vehicle for us. So buying a used car really is a smart investment, I think. Don't drive off the lot with a brand new one, but only if you buy with your brain and not with your feelings. So be a detective, check the facts. Here's 9 things that hopefully will be helpful to you as a Christian leader when you're buying your next vehicle. Again, I hope this was helpful. If so, maybe give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with a friend. Thanks so much for your time, and I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day walking with Jesus.